We were making the best of what we could, given we lived in two different countries. Ali, he said to me, is it possible I take them back to my family to spend some time, just as a holiday? He said, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, this is what's gonna happen. Layla's not coming back, Sally. She's staying here with me. All right? Layla, no.
I got a phone call from 60 Minutes saying that they were willing to pay for the recovery if they had the story.
When Sally left for Lebanon, she was only meant to be gone a week or 2. It just seemed so easy.
The thought of not being able to bring them home was kind of unthinkable. I flew into Beirut early April of 2016. It had actually been nearly 10 months since I'd been able to see or even speak to the children. Layla was nearly 5, turning 5 at the end of the year, and Noah was turning 3 at the end of the year. The plan was basically to recover the children. I don't have any background in child recovery. I left that up to the professionals and I wholeheartedly trusted them. Adam Whittington didn't divulge any of that information to me until obviously well after we had arrived into Lebanon. And even then it was, quite vague.
Beirut is not really the kind of place where you can snatch kids. It's not only ill-conceived and ill-executed, it was a bad idea at the inception. I do believe that, given the situation and the context, she had other means.
I did have, those blinkers on where I just saw only my children. I wanted to try and be naive in that, and I didn't want to think about what could possibly go wrong and the outcome of it going wrong.
The original plan was to escape by boat. Now, this was problematic because most of the crew came in via the airport, and several days later, those who arrived via the airport were leaving by sea, and this raised the concerns of the authorities and put them on the radar of the Lebanese security system. When Whittington arrived off the coast of Beirut, he made contact with port authorities saying he had boat problems and that he would need to take shelter in Lebanon. He was told to dock his boat in this small boat harbour just near the Movenpick Hotel.
كان في نعرف انه بالموفنبيك كان في الجنسيه 4 اشخاص من الجنسيه الاستراليه، فبدات الخطه انه بمتابعه وملاحقه هالاشخاص يلي موجودين اما كانوا خارج الفندق او يلي كانوا داخل الفندق.
There were intelligence officers in the lobby who had gathered all of the scans of the new arrivals, and they'd simply done a Google search. They'd worked out that among them were a couple of very well-known Australian television correspondents, so they knew something was up. On the day of the abduction itself, the intelligence officers see members of the abduction crew, who they knew had come from the boat, leave the hotel in a small grey car. But they didn't know where the car was going. They didn't have the capacity to follow it. But they phoned it in and they knew something was up.
بلش هذا النهار الساعة 6 الصبح واخذني على منطقة الروشة، جبنا أجانب من هونيك من جنب الموفنبيك، وصلنا لهديك المنطقة على أساس إنه أنا أشوف فين.
When I first saw my children, it was literally the day of the recovery. So there was the grandmother that was taking them to school on that Wednesday, and the maid was also with her, with my 2 children. So in the car for the recovery was just the carry crew and one of the 60 Minutes cameramen. We were just in the car waiting. As we saw them coming, we had to wait a certain time. The children just came out from the apartment. Were walking across the road with the maid and the grandmother.
بيفتح المصور اللي كان قاعد قدامي هو المصور، بيفتح الباب وبينزل ماسك الكاميرا عم بيصورهم للاولاد والست. تفاجأت فيهم شو عم شو التصوير انه الاولاد عم بيعيطوا وبيصرخوا واللي هن الاجانب عم بيعيطوا يعني عم بيحكوا بين بعض بلغتهم.
Well, as you could see in the CCTV footage, you know, it happened quite quickly.
يعني أنا خوفي ظهرني. الجيش معه أمر يقوس، يعني أي حاجة الجيش فوتي أنت بعكس السير. يعني بسرعة اللي أنا فيه إني ماشي فيها اللي من دون وعي ماشي فيها، بده يقوس. وإذا قوس بتعرفي يعني ما حدا بيطلع من السيارة.
The area where the kidnapping took place falls under the full control of Hezbollah as a southern suburb of Beirut. And I was very surprised that the abductors took the risk to get into this area. This was insane. You're putting the kids, I mean, in a very dangerous situation.
وقت ما صاروا الأولاد بالسيارة أولا صاروا يبكوا، بس صارت الأم تحكي معهم وعبطتهم صارت تبكي يعني.
I said, it's Mummy, Layla, it's Noah. I repeated their names probably 100 times in that minute. It's Mummy, it's Mummy. I kept saying that. I kept reassuring them. I, held onto their hand and just rubbed their back. And it was literally a matter of moments. Layla actually turned, looked at my face and took a breath and went, it's Mummy. And in that moment, my heart opened up and I felt like all this love that I'd been just dying to show them just poured out. There were sirens that were going in the opposite direction, obviously, to the area in which we just were. My nerves have never been so on edge. It was like I had fireworks going off all through my body. Just trying to stay calm and look inconspicuous in that kind of a moment was pretty hard.
إعلامي كتير كبير، عملي دوريات بكامل المناطق اللبنانية، عم تتجول دوريات لقوى الأمن الداخلي، بالإضافة لوضعها بشكل عام يعني كأجنبية بلبنان كان في من الصعوبة إنها تتحرك بكل سهولة بلبنان.
We were taken to a safe house where we were to wait until further instructions. The safe house itself was in a poorer part of Lebanon and it was just a really small apartment. It's a one-bedroom apartment. I don't know why they chose to go to a safe house. I don't know if that was genuinely part of the plan or what. In all honesty, I don't really know. And my children are quite big. I literally picked them both up and ran up 6 flights of stairs, and without even thinking. I didn't even feel breathless. It was just a matter of, it was a fight or flight moment, and with my kids being around me and after so long, I literally felt like I was invincible.
The safe house was in Sabra area. It's a Palestinian area. It's an area where it's difficult to go inside and to go out again. This is what I know about that area. I never go there. I don't know how they choose it. It could have been more wise to go to another place.
أنا ابني محمد تعرف على آدم، قال بتشتغل معي، قال لي أمي مرة وأولادها بدهم يعملوا معها مقابلة وما بعرف شو، قلت لها يا أهلا وسهلا. يعني ما عارف إنه قصة خطف.
Are you okay? Yeah. Are you okay? Okay. Gentle, he's just playing, sweetie. Maybe lay down this way. And I just started taking videos of the children jumping around and, having fun and just being their normal happy selves like I remembered them. It was lovely to hear Noah's laugh and Layla, tell me she loved me and Noah give me a cuddle. That was great. That was the reassurance I needed. And Layla and Noah kept asking, are we going to go back to Australia now? Are we going to go back to Australia?
Do you want to do some more colouring together or should I colour?
I had my 5-year-old daughter translating things, that we needed food or we needed water, and she's asking for it.
هي أنا حسيتها إنه أم بتحب أولادها كتير وهني بيحبوها الأولاد، يعني رغم إنه بيعبطوها ببوصوها وبتلعب معهم، وقالت لهم بنتها الصغيرة تقول لها ماما أنتِ مدفلة على أستراليا.
Adam Winnington brought the 60 Minutes crew to the safe house. He arrived and was there for about 20 minutes, I think. Between the 60 Minutes crew and myself and the children and then the actual family that lived there in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was quite confined.
Filming Sally being reunited with the children was essential to the story, and the safe house was where this very emotive interview was going to take place.
We had a small TV, so we switched it on and we were keeping track of what was going on, but straight away almost there was news reports about how 2 children had been taken off the streets and 4 armed men.
لما اجوا خطفوا الأولاد من قدام البيت وحاولوا يقتلوا الوالدة بنفس الوقت إنه لما ضربوها على راسها بالفرد.
We had no guns. It was just a matter of a pick up and grab and run basically to the car. Nobody shoved her. She tripped on the pavement, which was on the corner of the road, as she was trying to hold on to Noah's bag.
خفنا لأنه حسيت إنه هن يعني جايين عاملين شيء قصة كبيرة. إحنا استقبلناهم على أساس كضيوف مش أكتر.
Adam Winnington suggested that I call Ali to make sure that he knew that the children were okay.
What went wrong, I think, is that a lot of things. Instead of leaving the country directly, they stayed and they used their mobile telephone, never thinking that they can be found out by the security forces. This is something unbelievable. Ali, I think he knew about Sally's plans. What he said that he had emails of Sally, and he knew from that she was preparing a rescue plan from Lebanon. But knowing Ali, I don't know if it's true.
Well, what happened, Sal had left her emails on the kids' iPads. Then Sal changed her password email in the end of December, so that's when everything I was out of the picture.
I knew for a fact that Ali had access to Layla's iPad. The only one thing he could have possibly seen that was related to parental alienation or anything like that was a document that was scanned, and it was a parental alienation article that had been sent. So straight away I started up another email account, and one that I'd never sent him emails from, so he didn't even know what that email address was, let alone the password or even that it existed. And I used that email to communicate when it came to anything to do with the recovery.
عملية ساعات ودقائق كان ممكن الخطة تنجح لو ما هذه سرعة التدخل اللي صارت بين سرعة تدفق المعلومات، مساعدة الأب، المعلومات يلي حصلت عليها شعبة المعلومات.
What took place in those hours after the interview at the safe house is central to how the team were caught. It does appear that at this point the intelligence authorities were onto Whittington. Whittington was arrested very quickly.
The 60 Minutes crew and myself were just waiting for further instructions from, Kari that had been hired. So it was just a waiting game. And we were waiting for a phone call that never came. It felt like an eternity, really. We were just in limbo waiting. Tara said, look, it's getting late. We're going to have to go too, but hopefully we'll see you in the morning. And I knew she was just trying to be positive for me, and, you know, I was grateful for that. But I think by that stage I just knew the game was up.
تركوها الأسترالية هون الصحفية وفلوا. ما عاد عرفنا شو بدنا نعمل نحن. أنا ما فيني كب مرة مع أولاد بالشارع. قالت لي بليز فيني نام عندكم؟ قلت لها أنا إيه. طبعاً أنا شفقت عليها. لأنها من وقت ما راحوا تركوها هي قاعدة عم تبكي وعبت أولادها. طبعاً شفقت عليها، شو الإنسان ما عنده إحساس أبداً.
When the 60 Minutes crew left the safe house, they were also detained. The safe house, within hours of the abduction, had become compromised. So it became a place that wasn't safe at all. It became a place that was central to their downfall.
I was beside myself. I felt like I couldn't breathe at some points, just at the thought of having to give my children back. So I think I was even like, I was losing the plot basically.
لا والله سالي ضلت فايقة طول الليل ما نامت من كتر ما هي موترة وخايفة. هي بلشت بقى تبكي وتدق على التليفون، ما حدا كان يرد عليها.
I tried desperately to figure out something or keep some kind of hope alive about the situation. The news had broke, obviously, in Australia.
Dramatic pictures have emerged of what's believed to be an Australian mother's desperate attempt to get her children back.
And I was getting messages, even via my social media, saying, I can't believe, you know, is that really you? Is that your children that's happened to? Are you okay?
في عدة قطاعات كان في تنسيق بين بعضهم للهدف انه نوصل باسرع وقت ممكن نقدر نحرر الطفلين. تم توقيف الصحفيين، ولكن سرعة التدخل فاجأهم سرعة التدخل لانه كانوا ممكن يفلوا تاني نهار.
I was waiting any minute for the police to come knocking, and it wasn't until I think mid-morning we were sitting playing and the kids playing with their toys, and all of a sudden I heard this almighty shriek.
أنا وقفت على الشباك هون لقيت مسلحين عم يركضوا، فتحوا باب السيارة وعم يركضوا.
So I picked up the children. Nothing could have stopped me. I ran. I ran as fast as I could with the two kids, my two beautiful children, down the hall.
She was a stranger in a strange land with two children. She ran briefly to an apartment nearby, but I don't think that she thought she was going to get away. She was cornered.
I looked at Layla and she said, I can't believe this is happening to us. And that's when I realised it's not okay. And I felt like I was being selfish, very extremely selfish in that moment. And if I wasn't going to be in their lives, it wasn't worth what I was doing now. So I grabbed their hands and I said, it's okay. We're going to go out and speak to them. Two undercover police officers allowed me to travel in the car with the children to the police station. So when we got there, I saw Ali and a lot of media at the front.
I held my cool for the last 36 hours. When they said they caught him, that's when I broke down. It was like like someone just picked up a couple hundred kgs off my shoulders and went, okay, you can breathe now.
They took me into the same room where the 60 Minutes crew were, and I sat down next to Tara, and they took my handcuffs off and handcuffed me to Tara.
Ms Faulkner is still detained, along with a Channel 9 crew led by reporter Tara Brown and a four-man recovery team who allegedly launched this operation.
I ran from the bedroom and sat on the stairs, shaking and breathing and taking in all the oxygen I could, because I was just so dumbfounded that a mother could be arrested for kidnapping, and what's going to happen now.
What happened on the ground here was really a disaster. I knew that Sally got a judgment from the Family Court of Australia giving her the custody. I advised her to send this judgment to me so I can execute it here in Lebanon. I don't know for what reason she didn't do that, although that I was following her, asking her all the time, when you will send me this judgment, and she was postponing all the time. I don't know for what reason.
I didn't register the family court orders in Lebanon in the civil court over there. My lawyer did say that that was an option, but from the stories and the research and everything that I'd heard, there is absolutely no guarantee, no promise, and the chances are quite minimal of being able to be granted custody.
Could you do that? Yes. What I think is that going the legal way is first better, and second, this is the only way to do things. Nobody gave her the authority to kidnap the children.
I understand how it came across as very disrespectful to do such a thing in a different country where, you know, I disrespected their laws. But I feel like it's just not fair, it's not a level playing field.
Sally spent 2 weeks in the prison. It was crowded. There is no beds. She sleeps on the floor.
Quite unlivable conditions. And we're talking a hole in the ground for a toilet, a hole in the wall for water that came out into a small bucket. It was quite surreal again. I remember Tara saying when I first met her, you know, I really like to get to know, you know, the people I'm interviewing, and we certainly did that. We spent a lot of time in our cell. I was definitely worried and scared that, you know, for the rest of my life or the next 20 years, I'd be going to sleep and waking up in the same spot I fell asleep in the same spot I was going to be in the next day, you know, going nowhere.
An Australian mother and a 60 Minutes crew are preparing to fight several charges.
Look, Pete, these are serious charges. The accused are looking at jail terms of anywhere between 3 years in prison all the way through to 20 years.
No, they want to make sure you're okay, that's all.
And the thought flashed through my head that I was going to be without my daughter. How was I going to get through 20 years? I thought, no, I can't think like that. This nightmare's got to come to an end.
Ali was very adamant that someone had to pay, and I was upset that, you know, everyone had been dragged into it. It had escalated into something that was catastrophic, really. It gotten so out of hand.
Ali, have you reached a compromise?
I can't comment anything on what's happening or what's going on in there until it's done.
Ali found out that it was a matter where he can get a lot of money. So he focused on that. Ali dropped the charges against Sally and the crew of 60 Minutes. He requested $1 million US, and then he accepted the amount of 500,000.
Yeah? How's Sally going? She's good?
And it was paid by Channel 9, by a single check in front of the judge.
After nearly 2 weeks behind bars, it was a short walk to freedom.
How does it feel to be free?
The beaming male members of the 9 crew had already been released, and it was hugs all round as Sally Faulkner and Tara Brown were reunited with the team.
I'm so sorry, guys. I wanted to say it in the office, but I couldn't.
Ali Alamin had brought charges against both Sally Faulkner and against the 60 Minutes crew and against Whittington. And he had dropped charges against 60 Minutes and against Sally Faulkner. But the state then stepped in and said that we are continuing these charges on behalf of the state itself. If Sally is convicted on the charge of kidnapping in the Lebanese judicial system, then this will make it more difficult for her to see these 2 children that she has fought so long and so hard to get access to.
I love them, and Mummy's sorry that that it all worked out this way, and I tried, and yeah, I hope I can see them again one day in Australia. I really do.
The message is very clear. Never go against the law. Even though if you think you are right, you can follow the rules even if it takes more time. At the beginning, Sally was in a good position to get back the children. Now she is in a lesser position to get back the children. Ali agreed to let Sally see the children in the McDonald's in Forn Shubak. He came with his bodyguards.
The last time I saw my children were at the playground in Lebanon when I had to basically get on a plane that afternoon. He told me that I had an hour with the children before he had to go.
Who's going up first?
Mommy, there's no, I'm going up high.
Okay, I'm gonna get you. Here comes the tickle monster.
I've got some memories and played with the children. It was just lovely, like just to hear their voices and their laughter, and just it reminded me of how it was in Brisbane.
Do you want to sing the mummy song?
Yes.
Yeah? I'm singing the mummy song.
Mommy, I love you so much when you are here.
Oh, I love you all the time, sweetheart.
Ali said, I have to go. Layla said, I'm going to stay with Mummy, and she walked over towards me, and Ali said, no, Baba, you're going to come with Daddy. And Layla said, no, I want to stay with Mummy. Can she come back to our house and we can paint our nails together? And Noah said, are we going to go back to Australia? And I bent down and I said, listen, Mummy loves you so very much. I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but just know that I love you with everything that I have. And no matter what anybody says to you, Mummy will always want you, always remember you and be waiting for you. And I kissed Noah. As I was trapping Layla, and she said to me, Mummy, wait, I have something for you. And I just smiled. I said, what is it? And she said, I have a surprise. It's my Barbie ring. And she pulled it off. And she said, it's my favourite one. I want you to have it so you don't forget me.
Kung Fu! Wow! Amazing!
You won. Oh, what's your face? No, it wasn't his face.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray.